and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Sorry, we're a little bit late this morning. I had some things to take care of this morning, like take the trash out. It's always a good way to wake up and go, damn it, I forgot to do that again. Oh man. I hope everybody is doing wonderful this morning. Hope you had a good time last night. I know I did. Oh my gosh. Good morning. It's 12:14 a.m. on Friday and you're still awake? Wow. Congratulations. Mm, mm, mm. Well, I hope that those of you who got a chance to grab a little bit of coffee, enjoy a little bit of time away from the tubes. Top of the morning. Happy Thursday. Look, I know things are going very well these days for those over here on the right side of the political aisle. President Trump and his merry band of anti-swampers have been hitting one home run after another since lunchtime on January 20th. Heck, now that the dismantling of the Department of Education is underway, I should be so thrilled that I don't care what happens going forward. People all around me are, well, they've been writing their talking around this 5-year anniversary of the onset of the coup back in 2020. Yeah, that was an interesting time. Thinking about all that is something that I try not to do. I'm very good at I'm not even going to be able to say the word this morning. And I like to keep the coof dark stuff locked up in a place where my conscious or subconscious aren't likely to stumble on it. The remembrances of other people's past couple of weeks have unfortunately unlocked the coof. The other day, Rick wrote a VIP post the other day telling why he thinks the pandemic was reckoning is in order. Well, and I couldn't agree more. We would all like that, I'm sure, even though we may differ on how to go about it. And then after reading Stephen Green's column reminding us that the coof celebrity lockdown serenade might be advocating for harsher punishment for tyrants. Look, on my best days, just hearing Imagine makes me get in touch with parts of my psyche that weird me out a little. It's true, one of the most hideous, famous songs in the history of music, Stephen has more on that in his column, which we'll be reading later. Recalling the lockdown celebrity sing-along cover of Imagine really triggered my desire for retribution. I wouldn't be surprised if one day people are allowed to plead Imagine in court and get away with all sorts of things. The Trump administration is doing a good job of cleaning out the tyrannical riffraff from the federal bureaucracy. Better yet, he's replacing them with some people who were blackballed for telling the truth in 2020. And I'm going to read more of hers in a little bit also. It's a bit of a sweet revenge, I suppose. Let's be honest, though. We're all hoping that the key government players from the pandemic to get their due. Seeing Anthony Fauci perp-walked and outfitted in an orange jumpsuit is the dream, isn't it? If President Trump's undoing of Joe Biden's auto pen preemptive pardon works out, we may get to see that. Fauci insisted that he didn't need a pardon for anything, but evil people never view themselves as evil. I'm sure that the little mustached artist from Germany fancied himself as a sparkling wit who was delightful at parties. Consequences aren't a big part of the lives on the left who do awful things to other, which is galling. The worst of the COVID tyrants was Cuomo and Whitmer. They come immediately to mind, having body counts for which they are not held responsible. Cuomo lost his job because he was a sexist pig at work, and he's already attempting a political comeback. All of the elderly people he sent to, well, not exist anymore in nursing homes don't seem to weigh on his conscience at all. I'm no legal expert, so I don't know what, if anything, could be done to execrable people who held sway during the pandemic. I just don't know that complete societal breaking is just around the corner, or people who abuse their power to ruin the lives of others keep getting away with it. SFK of the day. It was the Bushies who acted like their hair had been set on fire when it came to the obvious 2016 that Donald Trump was going to win the Republican nomination, along with their consultant class grifter fluffers. They did everything they could to undermine Trump during his first term, much to the relief of the liberty-loving Americans. Trump's steely resolve was no match for the GOP Bush-Cheney invertebrate wing in the long run. And from his shot of vodka, says you want to win a war, this is how you win a war. That's why I've often found the phrase forever wars so frustrating. In context, complaining about forever wars is more of a way to shut down debate than historically accurate assessment. What makes our poor military performance in places like Afghanistan sting so much so isn't that we weren't mired in so-called forever wars, but that they were wars of choice, not of national survival, that we chose to conduct inconclusively. All that spilled blood, and for what? But just know, not everything is horrible. I would play a little more, but there's music in the background. Look at him. Look at him. He's just sleeping in the sun. Just chilling in the sun. Fucci and Pelosi and all of those people, yeah. Hook maracas, Fauci, lie detector, and zap every time they lie about our questions we have. I think everyone, that sounded like my dog. Oh, I know that. I know exactly what you're talking about, because that is how it hits. That is exactly how it is. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I've got this here. Yeah, we'll get into this one here. All right. Techno hell. TikTok addicted kids wrongly diagnose themselves with ADHD. ADHD history will vindicate maybe the single most overdiagnosed mental health condition in a veritable ocean of suspect, yet officially recognized mental health diagnosis for which children are prescribed a plethora of drugs. The dirty little secret, which you will inevitably discover if you spend enough time with psychologists and psychiatrists, is that the entire field is in the most charitable framing, more or less educated guesswork. In the least charitable framing, it's mystical gibberish. What clinicians do is they group a bunch of symptoms together, consult their Bible, the DSM, decree that these symptoms constitute a condition. They offer a diagnosis, and then they prescribe medications ostensibly designed to remedy that condition. But it doesn't work. At least not to fix the problem the field purports to want to fix. It does work for generating massive revenues for drug companies. Look around. Just look around. Americans are taking more prescription drugs for mental health problems than any other population in Earth by far, with some of the worst outcomes. Depressed people given SSRIs often get more, not less, suicidal. And he knows this firsthand. People with anxiety are given benzodiazepines that, while they work in the short term, only serve to make things worse in the long term, along with causing physical addiction, etc. Perhaps even worse, though, is having a bunch of kids indoctrinated in public schools, purely devoted to the material sciences, diagnosing themselves on the internet based on TikTok videos. A new study found that popular ADHD-related content on TikTok often misaligns with clinical guidelines, potentially influencing how young adults perceive the disorder. Researchers analyzed the top 100 ADHD videos and found that less than half of the claims matched professional diagnostic criteria. Young adults who consumed more of this content were more likely to overestimate ADHD symptoms and recommend videos with misleading information. Experts emphasize the need for mental health professionals to engage in social media discussions to ensure accurate evidence-based resources to reach viewers. Two clinical psychologists with expertise in ADHD evaluated the claims accurately nuance overall quality and psychoeducation material made in the top 100 ADHD TikTok videos. Despite the video's immense popularity, collectively amassed nearly 500 million views. Fewer than 50% of the claims about ADHD symptoms were judged to align with the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. A greater typical frequency of watching ADHD-related TikToks was linked to a greater willingness to recommend both the top and bottom rated videos. It was also linked to estimating a higher prevalence of ADHD in the general population and the greater challenges faced by those who actually do have ADHD. Our findings highlight a discrepancy between mental health professionals and young adults regarding the psychoeducational value of ADHD content on TikTok. Addressing this is crucial to improving access to treatment and enhancing support for those with actual ADHD. The exact same process works itself out with tranifying the kids. The TikTok Loomers video plants the seeds. Maybe you're trans. Kids start wondering if he's a Trans Am. Kid asks mommy if he's a Trans Am. Mommy reflexively affirms that he is a Trans Am because she knows having a gender diverse kid is major street kid on the suburban block, or else she just doesn't want to deal with any CPS visits for refusing to affirm her kid's process of rediscovering his gender identity. The family doctor, who just so happens to work for a hospital system that rakes in billions, not millions, of dollars in revenue surgically altering children's genitalia, agrees wholeheartedly that they've gone a Trans Am route. Mommy buys her little tyke all genetical packing fashion accessories for his little genderqueer heart desires from Target, and before you know it, her gender diverse social justice icon is twerking for the camera. I'm not going to show that because it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing that people do not understand that that is a mental health issue. 35 out of 84. Come on, y'all. I'd like to know how many health care providers are consulting each other for evaluation and treatment. I bet larger per capita of them need help than normal. I mean, that brings me to the whole COOF thing. How many doctors did we have that fell in line with the narrative that was safe, effective? How many kids were put in plastic bubbles or wore these god awful masks while playing on playing horns in an orchestra? I mean, the insanity of it all is exactly what it was. It is actually one of the most disturbing things that we had to deal with for quite a bit of time. All of the craziness of it. Yeah, I have a story is the name of Yamaha's channel. It is where he tells stories. He doesn't do anything but read stories. There's no politics. He tells wonderful stories to put your weary head to rest with. I want to know how many healthcare providers are consulting with each other for evaluation. I don't know. Do you really trust them? Do you really trust that they're going to do the right thing? That's always the question with a lot of these doctors. I've said this before that there's something really strange whenever people say, "Oh yes, just trust the science," and then whenever you question it, they call you a tyrant. That to me doesn't sound like I should be trusting anything that people are saying. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not on your side in that aspect. Were there people that needed help during all of that? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There were people that needed that. But it got so out of hand that parents, children, young adults were on the attack of each other over the same BS. And I've got Yamaha's little tag up there pinned in. So if you want to check out his channel, you know where to find it. But we do have to watch this. I just know that it's going to be glorious. Oh yeah. Watch Senator Kennedy shreds radical leftist law professor with his signature wit. Kennedy's so much fun. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana, has never been one to suffer fools lightly, and during a recent Senate hearing, he exposed the dangerous and deeply biased views of Professor Marianne Franks, the radical leftist law professor with a disturbing hostility towards the U.S. Constitution. In classic Kennedy fashion, he used Frank's own words to highlight her extremism, leaving her scrambling to defend herself. Kennedy began by calling out Frank's claim that concerns over the Biden administration censorship were a myth, while insisting that President Trump was the real threat to free speech. When pressed on whether her personal politics influenced her objectivity, well, she denied it, setting the stage for Kennedy to dismantle that claim piece by piece. And we're going to watch right here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for having to miss the testimony of some of you, and I appreciate you coming today. Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley, so I got part of it.
Good morning, Nosy
As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship and
Okay,
special
I
complex.
got that part.
No,
I
I
got
just
that
want to
part.
clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, as I appreciate it.
Kennedy's like, your answer is no. I appreciate it.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words. Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy, end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, when the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats.
Ouch. That's not good. You don't want to be saying crap like that. Could you all think on how much of a Peter Kennedy was
Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court, referring to the current United States Supreme Court, has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well, close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's proud of it.
In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying
Yeah.
to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the
Well,
relevance
let
of
me
this
let me
question
let me
is.
show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m. Quote: "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy." Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this.
Did you
hearing.
say it?
It has a lot
I
to
do
do
not
with
have
it.
those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
Dallas.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
She
like
does.
you have your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022.
Of course.
You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms.
Yeah,
And
we
that
do.
reason is white male supremacy." Close quote.
Nope.
Did
It's
I
not.
read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I
No,
read that
let me-
correctly? Do you
Aw.
really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First
Uh-huh.
Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment.
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
Curb Your
seriously, sir.
Enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
I
Thank you.
believe that you
The
should take the
time
First
has
Amendment
expired. Thank
seriously.
you. Senator Durbin.
I agree. Going X. Be right back. Oh yeah, she's gonna have some fun. You go have some fun. Lie until you're caught. No, she doesn't care. This is her core beliefs. Kennedy's brutal efficiency in dismantling Frank's arguments underscore an undeniable truth. The left's so-called legal scholars aren't interested in law or justice. They're interested in reshaping the Constitution to serve their radical ideology. And as long as Kennedy is in the Senate, they're going to have a hard time getting away with it. Oh, such a hard time getting away with it. And it's going to continue. It doesn't stop. That's the sad part about this is it doesn't stop. I've read the Constitution and it's amazing how it's never appeared in it. Isn't that weird how it never has at all, ever? Yeah, Kennedy is great. Her sycophant smirking in the back. Yeah. The self-satires and elitism of socialism, and that's what brought me to this one here. Socialism, as Democrats and other leftist world leaders practice it, is a self-contradictory and satirizing ideology is both elitist and illogical, from climate alarmists who say we must give up gas stoves and cars to save the planet while they fly around in private jets, to the politicians who have private armed security while enacting gun-grabbing legislation. Leftist socialists constantly demonstrate their hypocrisy. But that hypocrisy is, in fact, inherent in socialist ideology. One of the major logical flaws of socialism is that it argues in practice, if not always in word, that men cannot be trusted with freedom, while simultaneously arguing that those handful of elites in charge of the government are exempt from this untrustworthiness and should be in control of everyone's freedom. This is an inherent contradiction which Frederick Bastide pointed out centuries ago in saying this. There are too many great men in the world, legislators, organizers, do-gooders, leaders of the people, fathers of nations, and so on and so on. Too many persons place themselves above mankind. They make a career of organizing it, patronizing it, and riling it. It would seem that Bastide does not refer to men's moral greatness in the passage, but rather than to the artificial and external greatness which comes from having wealth, political power, and social status, regardless of merit. This is the sort of greatness that aristocrats, monarchs, and socialist dictators have. It's a false idea of greatness which makes the senile Joe Biden, the decrepit Nancy Pelosi, the perpetually wrong Al Gore, and the criminal Ilhan Omar so incredibly arrogant and entitled. He further clarified, if the natural tendencies of mankind are so bad that it's not safe to permit people to be free, how is it that the tendencies of these organizers are always good? Do not legislatures and their appointed agents also belong to the human race, or do they believe that they themselves are made of finer clay than the rest of mankind? Of course not. Shakespeare has his Henry the Fifth saying, humbly, I think the king is but a man as I am. His ceremonies laid by, and his nakedness he appears but a man. Or to put it another way, the Roman philosopher Seneca wrote, every king from a race of slaves, and every slave has kings among his ancestors. Perfect material equality is not achievable in this fallen world, but the founding fathers who admired Seneca had a vision for a nation where every man might be free, where every man might be equal before the law. They understood that while not every man can be president, no man should be considered inherently inferior because he is not president. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the founders declared. That is the brilliant American worldview that socialism rejects, which is why the Democrats, who always were the party of anti-American elitism, very naturally became socialists when that ideology began seeping into our institutions. Democrats have never quite recovered from losing their slaves and their plantations and have been trying to establish an aristocratic society ever since. But they are made of the same clay as any other man, and we must continue to vote their asses out of power so our freedoms remain intact. Good job from Catherine Salgado. Nice contributor at PJ Media. She also writes for the Rogue Review Media Research Center and her Substack Pro Dio et Libertate. She received the Andrew Breitbart MVP Award for August 2021 from the Rogue Review for her journalism. Yeah, hit that like. Only 49 have hit that like button. They smacked it. They made it feel so much better. They whipped out a leather strap and just started whacking on it. You know they did. They care only about power and getting it and keeping it. Consistency means nothing to these Marxist little trolls. It is very true. So very true. Some of us are more equal than others. Ah, comrade. I know. It's a crazy thing that happens. It is an absolute crazy thing that happens inside of this whole garbage place. And nothing bespeaks that more than this right here. Crazy Congresswoman says Melania should be deported. I was going to start this article by pointing out that Representative Maxine Waters will be 87 years old this summer, and it seems like her senility is catching up with her. But upon further reflection, I realized that Waters has never been sane. Her latest claims may be some of the most nonsensical, though. According to Newsweek, Waters participated in a protest in Los Angeles on Saturday, where hundreds gathered to oppose Trump's administration and Doge's efforts to dissect the federal government. That in itself puzzles me. Why are people protesting someone who is trying to save their tax dollars? Anyway, the protest somehow turned into the topic of Donald Trump deporting violent criminals. I guess Waters is afraid that she is losing her voter base. And the good congresswoman from California brought up the whole birthright citizenship thing. Then she suggested that Trump should deport his own wife, Melania. When he talks about birthright, he's going to... just watch what she has to say.
He wants to start looking so closely to find those who were born here and their parents were undocumented. Maybe ought to first look at Melania. We don't know whether or not her parents were documented. And maybe we'd better just take a look. If he
Oh my God. Come on, Maxine. You can't be that dumb. Or is it ignorance? Or are you assuming you're speaking to a crowd with very low IQ? I mean, your dentures are about to pop right out of your mouth. I mean, again, if they're protesting someone who tried to save them money, they're probably not the brightest. Well, whatever the case. Let me put it in terms you might understand. Mrs. Trump was born in Slovenia in 1970. She moved to New York City in 1996 to continue her career, and she met the president in 1998. They were married in 2005, had Barron in 2006, and in July 28, 2006, she became a naturalized citizen of the United States the right way, the way that hundreds of thousands of people do each year. In 2018, her parents, Victor and Omalaja Knobs, became U.S. citizens, and they did so through family-based immigration laws. I'll concede that the president has not been a fan of this type of immigration, but it was all done legally and on the up and up. They weren't hiding. Unfortunately, Amaja has since died, but Victor is often seen traveling and spending time with his daughter, son-in-law, and grandson. Tell us, what is there to investigate? Why would you deport the First Lady? In 2023, Mrs. Trump actually made a rare appearance at a naturalization ceremony at the National Archives in Washington, reportedly with her husband's support, and spoke about how tough the process is to become a U.S. citizen legally. According to CNN, she described the difficulties of trying to familiarize herself with immigration law, conducting research and painstakingly gathering information and paperwork. My personal experience of traversing the challenges of immigration progress opened my mind and opened my eyes to the harsh realities people face, including you, who try to become U.S. citizens, she said, adding that her life turned into a labyrinth of organizing paperwork. Anyway, on Wednesday, Elon Musk reposted a Fox News story about Waters' stupid speech, accompanied by one simple sentence. At some point, the many crimes of Maxine Waters will catch up to her. Somebody pop me some popcorn, because I want to watch that happen. But let's hurry, because Waters is pushing 90. They're moving illegals to different states to redo the districts, changing red states to blue. Yeah, that does happen. It's all for the garbage. It's all for the garbage of politics. It's absolutely horrible. Good morning, Killdozer. Good to see you. 11 Romeo. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I hope that you're having a wonderful day today. We love seeing this next one because it just really warms my heart. Watch as Carolyn Levitt puts CNN's Caitlin Collins in her place. As we've reported here at PJ Media, the mainstream media thought they finally had a scandal to pin the Trump's administration this week, but like so many times before, their bullshit scheme imploded. On Wednesday, White House Press Secretary Karen Levitt put CNN's Caitlin Collins in her place during a White House press briefing during a heated exchange over Signalgate. When pressed repeatedly on the non-story, Levitt delivered a knockout response that left Collins scrambling. Collins pressed Levitt on whether President Trump felt misled by his national security advisors after reviewing recently released chat messages. She specifically pointed to this message from Pete Hegseth stating 14-15 drones on target, followed by an all caps declaration. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And here she goes. She digs it.
Just one on a follow-up on something you just said, but since we have these messages released and you said that the president has now personally reviewed them, at the chat at one point Pete Hegseth wrote 14-15 strike drones on target, and in all caps he said this is when the first bombs will definitely drop. Does the president feel that he was misled by his national security advisors, whoever it was that told him there was no classified information in there, now that he's seen these messages?
I've now been asked and answered this question 3 times by the both of you, and I've given you my answer. The president feels the same today as he did yesterday.
Okay,
Philip.
and I might follow up on what you had just said.
Go ahead, Philip. Caitlin, I'm not taking your follow-up.
I have a follow-up on something you just said, though, Caroline. That's
Caitlin,
regarding
I'm not
Jeffrey
taking
Goldsberg.
your follow-up. Philip, go ahead. I have called on you.
Ouch. They just can't help themselves. Oh, and she looks so disappointed. Oh, just couldn't handle it. It was clear and decisive moment. Levitt wasn't about let Collins hijack the briefing with the same tired bullshit questions about non-scandal that the left is desperately trying to exploit because they lost their favorite talking point about egg prices. The left-wing media went into full spin mode on Monday after Jeffrey Goldberg of the Atlanta reported that he was mistakenly added to Signal chat with senior Trump administration officials. While no one disputes that Goldberg was added to the chat by mistake, the real issue is how that happened. Goldberg, the left-wing fake news peddler with a history of publishing bullshit hit pieces on Trump, claimed that officials revealed classified war plans in the chat, and they didn't. As multiple officials in the administration have pointed out, he initially refused to release the full chats. And I want to read that one next because it's so glorious. I was looking for that one. I have a pretty clear standard of my own behavior of what I consider information, what I consider to be the public interest, even if it's technically classified or not, he claimed during a podcast interview on Tuesday. Goldberg reversed course on Wednesday and released the full conversation, insisting on doing so somehow proved Trump administration was mischaracterizing the sensitivity of the discussion, but in reality, all he did was expose his own deceptions. If the chat contained classified or top secret information, his supposed journalistic integrity would have kept him from publishing, and by releasing it, he proved the entire controversy was a manufactured hoax, and the public could see for itself how much of a nothing burger the chat conversation turned out to be. That brought me to this one. The Democrats' latest effort to manufacture this BS. They go into his interview with Bulwark. Goldberg flatly refused. No, because they're wrong. They're wrong, he insisted. Miller pressed Goldberg further in their interview, asking whether he would at least provide the alleged messages to the Congressional Intelligence Committees instead of responding substantively. Goldberg deflected with sarcasm. Wow, what? You want me to become my lawyer? He quipped with annoyance. Why don't we just watch his garbage response?
Now, the Secretary of Defense and the White House press secretary have said you're lying, have said there are no war plans there, have said there's no classified information. So the obvious question is, shouldn't you now demonstrate it? Shouldn't you publish the text?
No, because they're wrong.
Good morning.
They're wrong.
But how can you prove that you're wrong? Maybe should you provide them to the House and Senate Special Committees on Intelligence? Maybe. I don't know.
Wow. Well, you want to become my lawyer?
I'm throwing this out there, Jeff. I don't know. I mean, look.
I feel like no. I mean, I obviously. Let me just put it this way.
Well, and it amazes me. It amazes me. We've seen this kind of response before. That whenever these so-called journalists get called out. Whenever they get called out for their BS, it's quite amazing how fast they start trying to throw the spin out there. And they'll constantly deflect, and they'll never answer the question. Because in their mind, they believe that they're right. They believe that they've got something. There's this particular reporter that likes to reach out to me and send me all of these "I got you" moments, and then whenever you dig into their BS, and Jay Hip can attest to this, whenever you dig into their BS and you actually start questioning their BS, they have a tendency to continue trying to push their narrative that isn't real. Yeah, he's so full of it, doesn't like to have his feet put to the fire. And they will just constantly avoid the question that you ask them, because it breaks down all of their narrative, because they're not coming at it from an honest point of view. They're coming at it from something that they've falsely created. Let's continue.
My colleagues and I, and the advice that and the people who are giving us advice on this, have some interesting conversations to have about this.
Yeah.
But just because they're irresponsible with material doesn't mean that I'm going to be irresponsible with this material. And you know what? I could, whatever. I mean, you've had a lot of history as I have with dealing with them, and at moments like this, when they're under pressure because they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar or whatever, they will just literally say anything to get out of the moment, to get out of the jam. And that's okay. I get it. I get the defensive reaction. And
it's not a defensive reaction except from you, sir. You're the only one that's having a defensive reaction. Deflect.
But here's the thing. My obligation, I feel, is to to the idea that we take national security information seriously.
Really? I doubt it.
And maybe in the coming days I'll be able to let you know that, okay, I have a plan to
like
to
I'm doing right now,
vetted publicly.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say that now, because there's a lot of conversations that have to happen about that.
Makes sense.
And all of my inclinations, as you can tell, including withholding the name of the CIA undercover officer.
All
of
CIA.
my inclinations are. I have a pretty
Good morning, MG. How you doing, brother?
Clear standards in my own behavior of
I doubt it.
what I consider information that I consider to be in the public interest, even if it's technically classified or not, information that's in the public interest and information that's not in the public interest. And I'm just going to I'm sticking to my principles here.
Yeah, you have the principles of a gnat that's flying around a turd. Yet on Wednesday, Goldberg published the full chat. After all, he went from insisting he was being responsible by not publishing the full chat to publishing it while claiming that in doing so, he was proving the Trump administration was mischaracterizing the sensitivity of the chats. Goldberg went against his self-proclaimed principles when he published the chat. If he truly felt it contained top secret or classified information, the principles he claims to hold dear would have kept him from releasing it. By releasing the chat fully, he proved his entire narrative about the situation was a hoax. Goldberg's actions only undermined his claims, revealing he was lying about top secret or classified information being discussed. The content of the chat reveals no war plans on classified details, just a discussion weighing the pros and cons of striking now versus waiting. It's a conversation among cabinet members and staffers on the best way to move forward. After this weekend, this non-story will just be a memory, and Goldberg will move on to making other false accusations against the Trump administration. Remember, this is the same guy who has a history of publishing fake stories about President Trump. And I'm going to read something that is probably half true and completely well, no, I can't do this one. This one right here will definitely get me in trouble. I'm not gonna show it. I'm not gonna show it. I was like, it's one of them. It's one of those vax kind of things. No, you realize that you're in deep shit for claiming to be in a profession of classified information without proper permissions. If he knew it was that sensitive, he's in violation of federal law. Yeah. But it's easy to say, look, I have something that you don't have. Look, it's right here. I just can't show it to you. It's clickbait. It's clickbait 101. Look, I have something that you don't have. Aren't I so wonderful? I want to tell you how wonderful I am. I'm going to take a short break, grab some coffee, and I will be right back in just a short bit. I think it's time for a little bit of otter love.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit up club. Our chat rooms like a lit it up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our own way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Oh, yeah. So who really stands up for women's rights? I guess that is a lingering question, isn't it? Do you know that women's history, this is history, Women's History Month. That's March. Well, it is. And I must say, it's nice having a president who not only knows what a woman is again, but also unapologetically stands up for real women. After years of watching their concerns sidelined in favor of radical gender ideology, women now have a leader who is fighting for them. Whether it's defending female athletes from unfair competition or ensuring that women's spaces remain protected, Trump has proved once again that he puts Americans first, especially the women who have been ignored and marginalized for far too long. During Women's History Month event, Donald Trump made it clear that his administration is working to undo the damage done by the radical left, Joe Biden, and all his cronies' relentless assault on womanhood. His speech was not just a celebration of women's contributions, but a direct rebuke of the left's attempt to redefine gender and erase biological reality. For 4 long years, we had an administration that attempted to abolish the very concept of womanhood and replace it with radical gender ideology, Trump said, referring to the Biden years. Maybe you heard something about that. The former administration's war on biological reality, he pointed out, extended to erasing traditional language and violating women's spaces. They destroyed women's spaces and even tried to replace the word mother with the term birther person, Trump continued. A mother became a birther person. What's that all about? Trump mocked the left's continued insistence on pushing these radical policies, pointing out to a Democratic congressman he'd seen earlier in the day still advocating for men to compete in women's sports. He was fighting like crazy, Trump said, and I said, this guy's going to lose, and he's going to lose badly. Despite their massive electoral defeat in 2024, the Democrats haven't learned their lesson. The whole party is still into that. They haven't learned, and what we don't want them to learn, frankly, we want them to keep fighting. Let's not tell them. Polls show that Americans don't think the Democrats are concerned about the issues they care about and are too focused on the transgender issues and other radical causes. They still do. Earlier this month, Senate Democrats blocked the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, doubling down on the radical ideology that Americans have rejected. Now, under Trump's leadership, the days of forced compliance with leftist gender ideology are coming to an end. Under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, he declared. Why don't we just watch?
For 4 long years, we had an administration that tried to abolish the very concept of womanhood and replace it with radical gender ideology. Maybe you heard something about that. They destroyed women's spaces and even tried to replace the word mother with the term birther person. A mother became a birther person. What's that all about? Then you wonder why they lost. They're trying to figure out why did they lose. I saw a congressman today for the Democrats. He was having a big fight on television early this morning, trying to make it so that really he thinks men should play in women's sports. He hasn't given that up yet. He was fighting like crazy. I said, this guy is going to lose. He's going to lose badly. The whole party is still into that. They haven't learned and we don't want them to learn, frankly. We want them to keep fighting. Let's not tell them. Under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, and you had a war on women, and we're protecting women's rights, defending women's dignity, and standing up for the American moms and daughters. So many are represented here. Great people in this room. American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and women.
The message was unmistakably Trump. The White House is fully committed to restoring dignity and fairness for women in America, and under Biden, radical gender policies infiltrated schools, sports, workplaces, forcing Americans to comply with the absurd redefinitions of sex and gender. Women's safety and fairness were cast aside in favor of leftist virtue signaling. Now, with Trump back in the White House, those days are over. His stance on these issues resonates with millions of Americans who have watched in disbelief as common sense was thrown out the window. By taking a firm stand, Trump is realigning national priorities, ensuring that women's rights are recognized and defended once again. His remarks during the Women's History Month event sent a clear message. Under Trump, real women will no longer feel erased and ignored. Their rights will not be sacrificed on the altar of political correctness. Defending their dignity, said the guy who said if you're rich, women will get rich. You grab them by the plushie. I like Trump, but the irony is not lost on me. Some women will let you do that whenever you've got money. That's what his statement was all about. You got to put the whole thing in context. And yes, it was abhorrent. It was absolutely abhorrent. Bring out the Doge machine for the public broadcasters who hate half of America. With a big old sign of NPR. Were it not for the Trump administration's seriousness about trimming government waste, I'd say that the House oversight hearings on cutting spending for NPR were just another dog and pony show. Yawn. Ho-hum. Representative Jim Jordan issued zingers and gets outrageous answers, and we gasp and point, but ultimately nothing gets cut. Big Bird walks away with all his feathers again. The supposed public organizers that serve America served up a bunch of disinformation over the past few years. They were wrong about the coup, Hunter's laptop, Russian collusion, and that Trump and Putin are co-conspirators. They fully believed in the ridiculous dossier, cheerleaded tearing down statues. Yes. They were all in for the 1619 Project. Yes. DEI and multiple other stories that always seem to go in one direction. Republicans are smelly. America sucks. The Democrats are divine. Anyone who disagrees was a conspiracy theorist. Why should we pay people who hate us? Can't they do this bad job on their own? But NPR sits in a $200 million facility where it hosts make $500,000 a year. Where the hosts make $500,000 a year, according to Senator John Kennedy. Fresh sushi is artistically made before the diner's eyes in the company cafeteria. Maybe this time congressional Republicans will put away the kick me machine and yank public funding from the notorious leftist organizations. 87 out of 87 editors at NPR are leftist Democrats. Why are we funding them? Get the Doge machine out. Defend the public broadcasting system instead of police. There is hope. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene called for the removing all taxpayer funds for both PBS and NPR.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting is using taxpayer dollars to actively suppress the truth, suppress diverse viewpoints, and produce some of the most outlandish, ludicrous content. After listening to what we've heard today, we will be calling for the complete and total defund and dismantling of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Here's how it works in America every single day, private businesses operate on their own without government funding. We believe that you all can hate us on your own dime.
Ladies and gentlemen, stroke your engines. Good to see you, Brandon. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. Here's the way the funding works. As far as I can ascertain, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting gets more than $5 million from taxpayers. PBS says it gets about 16% of its money from the feds. NPR says it gets as much as 8% from the feds. Then PBS gets money from CPB, and PBS gives money to NPR, which NPR then uses to pay CBP for programming. The funding mechanism sounds like an MLN friend of mine is on. Here's Jim Jordan asking NPR CEO Catherine Maurer to explain the muddy financial relationship between these corporations.
But over 5 years, it's went down 18 million.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Should taxpayers subsidize NPR?
I believe that taxpayers subsidize local stations, sir. That is the vast majority of what.
I thought you said you got 11 million from Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which is taxpayer funded directly to you, right?
That is to support the public.
And then
radio
local
satellite
stations
system.
get it from the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, right? They get taxpayer
100
money.
million that goes to the local.
100 million goes to local stations, and then those local stations buy back programming content from you. So that money goes to the local stations, comes back to you, gets routed through the local stations, all taxpayer money.
Those fees are actually based on private donations rather than on federal funding.
Well, we all know money's fungible, so some of it gets put in there.
Certainly, we could agree that money is fungible.
What? More money for less listeners. You fired the guy who pointed all this out, who said that you were so biased to the left that you lost listeners, which is exactly happening, and you're here maintaining that, oh, you need to continue to get taxpayer money.
I did not fire Mr. Berliner, sir.
Okay, the guy that left after all that. Understand. Are you fundraising off today's hearing?
Sir, I believe that there was a message that went out earlier today letting people know we were coming in. Yes.
Yeah, and at the bottom of the message it said, donate now, right?
I don't recall the exact language.
I can show it to you. Right there it is, donate now. I mean, I'm not against fundraising. We all do it. I mean, I get it. But it's, I assume this fundraising thing is probably going to all the left listeners who are subsidized content by the taxpayers, and that's
The gentleman's time.
Yeah. They could defend another way. Author Chadwick Moore noted on February that nearly all of Corporation for Public Broadcast, known as PBS, gets much of its funding from soon-to-be defunct Department of Education. We find out how far the deconstruction goes, and in the meantime, cut off the entire funding mechanism. These stations won't be destitute. They get all kinds of lucre from other sources that are ready to and willing to throw money at them. PBS fundraises in their never-ending begathons, holding hostage one good show you want to watch, but you are too cheap to buy BritBox, so you get Chalk Talk for 20 minutes. No, I don't want Broadway's best throw pillow. I paid my taxes. Give me my show. For example, on Wednesday, NPR fundraised on the hearings that could potentially mean cutbacks for them. Representative Jordan got the CEO of NPR to admit it on Capitol Hill. To further plump up the bottom line, these stations run ads on their air. Of course, they don't call them ads, but if the messages were on commercial radio, they'd be called ads. Having been in commercial radio for all of my long career, I can assure you that's what we would call them. Both corporations also run ads. Support for NPR, PBS comes from the commies at XYZ Corporation who remind us that Republicans have cooties. They make mentions, send gratitude, air petty videos, pretty videos, and give all sorts of other promotions to the myriad organizations and corporations that support them every year with stipends from their voluminous coffers. And then there's every manner of left-wing private and public corporations and foundations seeding those leftist public broadcasting corporations with big bucks. Thank you, Ford and John D. Rockefeller Foundations. Uri Berlinger, who left NPR after writing about his unabashed far leftist news and views, says it's time for these public outfits to completely cut themselves off from public money and be the leftists they want to be. I'm fine with that. It's long past time to defund the commies. Congress should cut these public broadcasting entities off right now. And if they don't have the guts, I know a guy with a Doge machine who does. Crazy. I agree with this point. The one time you want to watch something, it's just nonstop. Please donate to us. Just run a normal commercial. For fuck's sake, I hate commercials. I take it back. All ladies are fungible. No, they're all fun. They're all fun. You Muslim today, Zach? Nah, I don't like marrying 6-year-olds. God. If it's so vital and important, then it will be sustainable without public funding. I mean, you would think You would think that it would be. There's just some problems with that. Is it never seems to end. It's always a fundraiser, constantly, nonstop. It's always a fundraiser. It doesn't stop at all. Ah, so sad. Oh, let's see if I've got something here for you guys. I wonder. I do have something for you, and I showed this last night, but I think it deserves to be shown again. It definitely deserves to be shown again. So let's enjoy. Let's enjoy. You guys ready for some laughter? I think you are ready for some laughter.
Move back, dang. If y'all put some sanitizer on y'all hand, y'all can hold my baby. But here he go right here. Ain't he cute? What his name is, girl? He looks just like you. He got Marcus toes. It is so cute.
That baby is ugly as hell. Why is white like that?
Javante!
Why? She black. Uncle Marcus black as hell. Why the baby white?
He not white, TT baby. He just light skinned. Y'all know my great grandpa was mixed with some Indian. We had Indian all up in our family.
This little white baby got lights too.
Boy, that baby ain't white. That's your little cousin. Oh, here come Marcus.
TT, you shouldn't show baby because it sure don't look like you are Uncle Marcus. It's still cute though. It just smells like a wet dog. Oh, Uncle Marcus, that's your little twin right there. Oh.
Marcus, this your son, Marcus Jr. Huh?
Keisha, you really playing in my face right now.
Marcus, don't say that. He probably got albinism or something. No. Hell no. That ain't my baby. Are you serious, Marcus? This baby look just like you.
Like who? You better take that damn baby back to the hospital. Quit playing with me.
Really? So you gonna walk off? Marcus, come back.
Little girl, quit playing with me. Cause you really playing with your life right now. And I ain't finna sit up here and play with you.
This is your baby now. Put you on child support.
I had so much fun. I watched that last night with Yamaha. We laughed so hard. Oh, what the hell are we watching? A voiceover is what you're watching. You can always watch this. This is who the fuck is this? Here we go.
In Newcastle County, Delaware. Right in front of the Applebee's. You know, they've been to the Applebee's before. So this, police, free car wash. Here we go. Yes, that's it. Get them. In
Oh, sorry. What happened to AMC? Sorry, here we go.
So to all those who came here today unsure of whether this is where you belong, I want to say that you do. And truly, if you're here today giving this a shot for the first time, I want to let you know, no matter who you voted for in the past, no matter if you know all the right words to say, no matter your race, religion, gender identity, or status, no matter if you're a dreamer or a U.S. citizen, no matter if you disagree with me on some things, if you are willing to fight for someone you don't know, you are welcome here. If you're willing to fight for working people, regardless of who they are, how they identify, or where they come from, you are welcome here. Because here, everyone is valued. So to all those who can...
Oh, I've been dreaming of a fat Latino foodie. Oh. What? It's just he has a warped mind. Oh, not as bad as this. This is what suburbanites call a cul-de-sac.
Let me tell you a A little something about my family. I come from a very, very long line of hammer times. You know, my mom always told me, you never want to be the nail. Never that. You want to be the fucking hammer. The hammer. Because once you become the hammer, then you become unstoppable. Stop, baby. And that's where I got all these hammers. Right from my bloodline. Fucking bloodline.
It's the Beastless Boys. Just like when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, we know people like this. Because you become the hammer. Oh. Oh, what a day. What a day it's going to be. I've got so much to do. They woke among us. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Imagine creating the Whitakers look nice today. That family tree is the straightest fence post you'll ever see. This is going to kill you. This is going to kill you right here. Oh.
Trump. You do not have to consume his content. Now, that sounds incredibly privileged. I believe you do not have to at all consume his content and let that chip away at your physical and mental health. Instead, fucking touch grass when you can and focus inward. Focus on each other. Focus inward. I'm not saying totally disengage. I'm saying re-engage. I'm saying go within. This is not something I made up. I think it was some very wise Buddhist maybe or something. Go within. Jesus. All the answers are there. Taking care of ourselves.
Exactly.
Taking care of each other. It doesn't have to include him. You don't have to keep up with every disgusting thing he says.
Oh.
Their whole purpose is owning the libs. There's no ideology.
Yeah. If maybe she listened. What if you can't get it? Oh.
It's an act of hatred and a need for superiority. We need only to focus on caring for the people suffering in his wake, the detritus he leaves behind, picking up those pieces and taking care of each other. So this is what I have to offer. Hopefully I'll think of better things. I hope a lot of people are thinking of much smarter, active things, but that's what I got.
Yeah. There is something very, very, very wrong with her. There is something very, very wrong with you. I mean, lady. It is completely insane. The amount that she goes through, the amount of BS that she goes through, the hoops that she has to use. But John Cleese, well, I'm not going to show that. That'll just get me in trouble. That will just get me in trouble. How about something a little more enjoyable? Like, what does your dog do when you're away from home? This is why you set up a camera, just to see what your dog does as soon as you walk out the door. Think he's depressed at all? Oh gosh. It just kills me. Oh, I just get such a kick out of all of it. Oh, you're gonna that dog is still like F you for taking off. So I hope that dog's name wasn't named Humper. Oh, here we go.
What are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
Are you wearing Trump merch?
Yeah, I'm dressed up as a Trump supporter.
Oh, it's beyond inappropriate. We support the Democratic Party. Go change or turn your camera off.
No, I'm not turning off my camera.
Okay.
Guys, it's a Halloween costume. Why are you making this?
It's the reason we exist. I've had enough of this. I'm setting up a meeting with HR for your termination.
I agree. Termination?
You're done. You're done.
What?
We have been here before.
You are done. Termination for what? Are you serious right now?
Hey, guys.
Q.
Hey, Q.
Sweet costume. You're not going to say anything about his costume?
What about it?
If this is inappropriate, then what the hell is that?
What's inappropriate about it? I'm a ghost, bro.
You're a ghost?
What did you think I was?
I don't know. Never mind.
Why is everybody so tense, man? What's going on? Dave's getting fired for wearing Trump merch. That's so stupid. Eric actually voted for Trump. What? Yeah, he voted for Trump both elections.
Eric, you literally told me yesterday you voted for Jill Stein.
I wasn't the only one. Chris did too. Dude, come on. This is insane. How many of you actually voted for Trump? Oh my gosh, none of this leaves this meeting. So Harrison, you're the only one who didn't vote for Trump?
I mean, I'm not registered to vote.
None of this leaves this meeting.
It's a parody. It's a parody. Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. Take care of that typo when I had the chance. It was awesome. It was awesome. Good humor. Yes, you got to have a little bit of good humor. Why not have a little bit of humor in your life? Oh, it just brings me back to this. This one kills me every time.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.